See You in My 19th Life. Episode 9 starts with a flashback to Ji-eum's 6th life. At the time, she was hurt and agonized over whether she will ever meet someone who remembers their past lives. She hoped that at least she could find someone who believed her reincarnation story. We circle back to her current life where we left off in episode 8. Sheo-ha is unable to believe that Ji-eum is Ju-won. Ji-eum assures him that she is telling the truth. It might be a miracle, but Sheo-ha asks her to leave. She brings up Ju-won's old favorite book, The Moon and the West Witch's Forest. Sheo-ha remembers that book, and she tells him that Ju-won hid the key to the jewelry box she gave him on his birthday. She gives him a note and instructs to read it only after opening the box and going through what is inside. She then leaves, but she is hoping that Sheo-ha will reach out soon. Ji-eum opts to visit Cho-won to cheer herself up. She confides in her little sister that she came clean to Sheo-ha. Ji-eum is prepared to lose him if he fails to believe her. After going through numerous losses in each life, Ji-eum has become numb to the pain of losing a loved one. In her past lives, she either lost people or they disappeared. No one believed her reincarnation story and she felt lonely. However, her 19th life is different. She has Cho-won and Ik-young, who believe in her and stay by her side. Cho-won is saddened to hear what Ji-eum has been through and can't help but cry. Ji-eum comforts her and lovingly teases her for being a crybaby. As the night rolls on, they say their goodbyes and Ji-eum heads home. As Ji-eum walks through the streets, we see the people she has been in her past lives walking behind her. This is meant to show her reincarnation journey and each life's impact on her. They are all part of who she is now. Meanwhile, Sheo-ha jumps into the swimming pool to perform his usual calming ritual. This is his way of calming his mind. He tries to remember Ju-won's last words to him but fails. Elsewhere, Ms. Jang meets with Mun Jong-hun to share her concerns about Sheo-ha's investigation into the accident. She is worried that Sang-hyuk might get overwhelmed with guilt and confess the truth to Sheo-ha. On the other hand, Ji-eum gets home and finds that Min Ky left her the shaman bells in her room. She refuses to touch it and returns it. Min Ky is curious why she is avoiding the shaman bells, and she explains that she doesn't care about her first life. To her, that is no longer important. She has made up her mind to focus on her current life and spend it with Sheo-ha. This seems to strike a chord with Min Ky, and he has an angry expression. Later that night, Ji-eum has a dream about her first life and sees a man walking towards her. The man is Sheo-ha, but Min Ky is also there and is watching them with a pained expression. As Ji-eum dreams of her first life, Sheo-ha dreams of the accident and tries to remember her last words. The next morning, Sheo-ha makes his way to his childhood house and tries to find the book Ji-eum mentioned. He is lucky enough to find it, but unfortunately, Sang-hyuk shows up before Sheo-ha can open the box. Sheo-ha quickly hides it and tries to play it cool with Sang-hyuk. Sang-hyuk starts to notice that Sheo-ha is not his usual self and worries if his nephew is sick. They are joined by Mun Jong-hun, and Sheo-ha asks if they have anything they need to tell him. Of course, the two men have nothing to say, and Mun Jong-hun asks Sheo-ha to leave. Sang-hyuk tries to de-escalate the father-son fight, but Sheo-ha asks him to stay out of it. Once Sheo-ha leaves, Sang-hyuk and Mun Jong-hun head into the office to talk. The interaction is overwhelming for Sheo-ha and he leaves without the jewelry box. Later, Sheo-ha fails to show up at work, and Ji-eum tries not to be disheartened. Soon, night rolls by and Do-yoon picks his younger brother up from a bar. His little brother is quite drunk and demands some ice cream by force. Cho-won happens to see this as she walks by and thinks Do-yoon is being pestered by a drunkard. She quickly rushes in to help him and hits Do-jin over and over. She is later shocked to learn that Do-jin is Do-yoon's little brother. They get Do-jin ice cream and wait for him to sober up a bit. As they wait, the talk veers off to their feelings for each other. Once again, Do-yoon draws a line and asks Cho-won to stop. He tells her that he is unwilling to date her because he doesn't want to be the subject of more gossip. He is adamant that he is not going to date her and apologizes for giving her false hope. Cho-won tries to change his mind but he is set on creating a boundary between them. Cho-won is hurt after hearing his reasons and leaves crying. Do-jin overhears this conversation and he is also sad for his brother but says nothing. In the meantime, Ji-eum waits for Sheo-ha at an amusement park, but he fails to show up. She calls it a day and heads home. She is hoping that Sheo-ha found the key and came to the amusement park they were heading to on the day of the accident. Sadly, Shioha never opened the jewelry box and is unaware that Ji-eum is waiting for him. He is currently obsessing with trying to remember what Ju-won says in her last moments. The next day, he heads back to his childhood home and opens the jewelry box. Inside, he finds a book written by Ju-won about her first life. She details how meeting him helped her deal with all the pain from her past lives. Ju-won wanted to spend her life with him and hoped they will be happy together. Shioha opens the second letter as instructed by Ji-eum and sees that she wants him to meet her at the amusement park. He then remembers Ju-won's last words to him. She wanted to see him in her next life and promised to come back to him. He quickly rushes over, but there is heavy traffic. He calls her but Ji-eum fails to pick up because she is hoping he will come in person. Finally, Shioha makes it to the amusement park and they see each other. For a brief moment, they stare at each other from a distance. Each one of them remembering what has transpired between them leading to this moment. Ji-eum is the first to speak and expresses that she is glad he made it. Shioha asks what would have happened if he hadn't read the letter. Ji-eum replies that she would have still waited for him. He is still in disbelief and Ji-eum touches his face just like Ju-won used to. She assures him that she really wanted to see him and keep her promise. Shioha embraces her and cries but she tells him that she has been hoping that he would be happy. They hug again for a long time as Shioha comes to terms with the fact that she was Ju-won in her past life. As this goes on in the amusement park, Min Ky meets with Han-na and strategizes what to do about the situation. They are worried that Shioha and Ji-eum getting close will lead to problems. Min Ky says that the only way for them to be safe is if they become normal. He and Han-na decide they need to move quickly before it is too late. Back to the amusement park, Shioha and Ji-eum walk hand in hand. They talk about how they should address each other and go on a little date. Ji-eum explains that she was worried about telling him the truth. Shioha also confides in her that he blames himself for what happened to Ju-won. Ji-eum assures him that it is okay and she will be with him even in the future. They talk more and Ji-eum tells him about seeing him in her past life. She tells him about the bridge and the fireworks in her dreams. The following day, Do-yoon prepares some hangover soup for his brother but he seems to be out of it. He is probably thinking about Cho-won and what happened the previous night. Meanwhile, Cho-won gets a call from Ji-suk asking her to meet for a wedding event being held by a mutual friend. Unlike Do-yoon, Ji-eum is having a great morning and is excited when Ik-young gives her a new jacket as a gift. The day gets better after receiving a call from Han-na recruiting her to torment Ms. Jang. Han-na is the reincarnation of Shioha's mom and wants to get a little revenge by scaring Ms. Jang. As it turns out, Ms. Jang not only slept with her husband but used Shioha to threaten her too. Han-na feels better after watching Ji-eum pretend to be possessed by Shioha's mom's spirit and pass a haunting message to Ms. Jang. Later, Han-na thanks Ji-eum and tries to explain to her that she is ready to cross over. Ji-eum fails to understand what she means but Han-na tells her she will in due time. Han-na asks her to be ready to choose the right choice when that time comes. Afterwards, Ji-eum gets a message from Shioha. He sent her a picture of a bridge with fireworks and wanted to know if it is the same place from her dreams. Ji-eum researches the pictures more and is surprised the bridge actually exists. That morning, Shioha is late for work since he drops by his childhood home to see his dad. He, however, finds his uncle and they finally talk about the elephant in the room. Sang-hyuk confesses that he meant to kill Mun Jong-hun because he was frustrated with how he was treating his sister. At the time, Mun Jong-hun was having an affair with his wife's best friend and neglecting his sick wife. According to Sang-hyuk, Shioha was not supposed to be in the car that fateful day. Shioha asks him to turn himself in before he takes matters into his own hands and reports him. Sang-hyuk follows Shioha's advice and does just that. The news hits the headlines and MI Group is projected to take a big hit by the case. After hearing the news, Ji-eun calls Shioha. She is worried that the betrayal from his uncle going public has him feeling down. She is unaware that Shioha is right behind her and he asks her how she will cheer him up. She invites him on an overnight trip. Meanwhile, at the office, Do-yoon sees the picture of the bridge on Ji-eum's computer and is moved by it. Shioha and Ji-eum visit the bridge and she teases him about the man she saw on the bridge. Shioha can't help but feel a little bit jealous, but this doesn't dampen his spirits. He goes around taking photos, on the other hand, we see Min KY carrying the shaman bells while he is in Ji-Eum's room. Concurrently, Cho-won nearly gets hit by a hanging vase as it falls. The episode ends with Ji-Eum having a flashback from her first life. She sees herself stabbing Shio-ha and then getting hit by an arrow from behind. She falls forward in shock and Shio-ha worryingly catches her. While all this is happening, Min KY is still in her room with the shaman bells.